Hello, this video tutorial will guide you through using the Valhalla Scale desktop app. By now you should have the application installed on your computer. You should have this icon here on your desktop, and you should have the scale connected to your computer as well. If you need any help with either one of those two steps, please visit bodycompscale.com/app. Where you can download and watch tutorials and documents on how to download the application, install the application, and connect your scale to your computer as well. So to start, we're going to go ahead and double click on the icon on our desktop. That's going to open the application, and you'll see we have two options here. We have a patient portal and we have a test only area. So we're going to go ahead and start with looking at our patient portal. So first thing, you will have to enter a PIN. So we kind of keep it secure. We just don't want anybody to go ahead and be able to look at your patient's information. So there is a PIN. The default PIN is 8888. And now remember, you can always change that in the settings. There is a video that shows how to set up your scale for the first time with the application. So please review that video to see how to change that PIN and do other things within the settings. So what we can see here is our database. So I have 4 patients here that we've been working with, and what we can do here is we can look at the details of those patients, or we can run a new test on those patients. First, before we do that, we're going to go ahead and show how to add a patient to the database. So simply enough, let's click on the Add Patient button, and we're going to put in a patient ID. I'm using a 4 digits for the patient ID. You can use as many digits as you like. You can use alphanumeric. So if you already have a system for patient ID within your company, go ahead and keep that. Just remember alphanumeric. I'm just going to go and use 0009. I'm going to put myself in as a patient. I'm going to go ahead and put my first and last name. And now we can either just save this information, just save the new patient, or we can, from here, from the Greet button, save and close, or we can click on the blue button and go directly to running a test. For this demonstration, we're just going to do save and close. Because what I want to do, I want to expand here this page so we can have a better look, and I just want to show how to actually access the different patients, because right now we only have 5 patients, so easy to see all of them. But within your organization, you may have 100 patients, and of course they will be on this page, but it's going to be a little bit harder to find. So what you can use is your search button. You can either enter the patient ID if you have it, or you can just use first name, last name. I'm just going to put in the first name of the person that I'm trying to find, and here he is. So again, we can look at the details of that of this patient. So let's look at what that looks like, and it's basically the information that we pulled up earlier. But within here, we can look at the history. We can make changes. So let's say you spelled the name wrong, or we can either delete the patient from the database as well. So let's just go ahead and go back to our list. What I'd like to do is go ahead and run a test on one of the patients here. We'll use the one that we just entered. So the name of the patient already shows up here for test 4. Test by, what you want to put in is either the name of the nurse that's running the test, the doctor that's running the test. Easy enough. I'm just going to go ahead and put Joe. And when you do start test, it will say waiting for scale results. At this point, what you want to do is you want your patient to step on the scale. You want to conduct a test. So put in all their information, have them grip the handles when that step shows up. And once the results are displayed on the scale, simply press the graphic button and enter. And the data will show up on your screen within the application. So what we see here is all of the results. First of all, you'll see the name, the age, the height, and the date and time that the test was conducted. And you'll see the patient's results. These are the primary results. So body weight, body fat, visceral fat, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have on one side here, we have ideal and status of those results. We also have here a BMI chart. So if you say 31.2, what does exactly mean for BMI? You can show them here based on their height and weight, where they fall from underweight all the way to obese. Under energy, we have the metabolic rate, which is the energy that's burned at rest in a 24-hour period. And then burn rates based on activity levels. So from very light activity all the way to very heavy activity shows how many calories that person would burn, again, in a 24-hour period. Finally, we have the segmental values, torsos, arms, and legs. The weight of the fat and the percentage of fat within that limb. So let's say for the left leg here, it shows 21.7%. It means that 21.7% of the left leg is fat. So these numbers right here don't add up to 100%. It's not the way that the fat is distributed throughout the limbs. It is the fat within that limb. So once you review this information with your patient, if that's something that you typically do, you can go ahead and look at historical values. For this patient, this is the first test that we've done, so there's not going to be any history. So we'll go over that in a moment. Or you can press print. When you press print, you can select the type of printout that you want to do. Again, in the previous video, it shows you how to set this up within your settings. But basically, once you set that up, what you would see here is just the graphic printouts that you typically use. I've selected all of them for this demonstration. So I can click on either one of these and the printer will print to that specific graphic printout. So these are pre-printed forms that you would have to purchase from us. You also have the option of doing a plain summary. This is basically a single summary sheet with all the information. I'm going to go ahead and just demonstrate that. So we have the option of printing to PDF or printing to your printer so that we could see it here on the screen. I'm going to do print as PDF. Black screen shows up just for a few seconds here, and it's going to ask you to name the file. I'm just going to say test 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to save it on my desktop. So if we just did just a print to the printer, at this point the pages would be coming out of your printer. I'm just going to show what that looks like here with the PDF. So you have all your results. This is, like I said, a summary sheet. But what you also see is the name of your company, the name of the patient, the date, the name of the person that actually conducted the test, and all the results. So what I'm going to show next is, here, let's close that, go back to the application. With the same patient, I want to show what the custom summary looks like. So the custom summary, again, is a summary sheet with all the results, but you can choose what to print and what not to print. So let's say for whatever reason, you do not want your patients to see the activity levels or the BMR or the segmental values. You can just unclick those and they will not show on the printout. So we're going to go ahead and look at that and see what the difference is here. So again, black screen, that's while it's printing. Go ahead and do just test, let's call it about 4, 5, 6, just so that we can compare the two. I'm going to go back to my desktop here, and so now you see there's a whole section that's white because we asked it not to print that information. So a way for you to customize your printouts and show only what you want your patient to see. Let's go back to the application, and again, under print, I just want to show if any of the other graphics, there's not a way to print it to PDF. This is just through pre-printed reports that you would purchase from us. If you need to purchase any of these reports, there is a purchase report button right here that takes you to our website where you can buy additional packets of the reports. So now I want to go back, and I want to go back to to the list of the patients here. And I'm going to use somebody that we have a lot of different tests on. So we're going to click here on Omar Nava. We're going to click on details. Okay, so this is for testing, and this is for looking at details, and we can look at the history. So in history, we have all the different tests that are conducted on this person. They're listed by date and time, and from the latest test to the left to the most the oldest test all the way to the right. So you can compare body weight, body fat, muscle mass, visceral fat, BMI, BMR, for all the different tests that you've conducted on a specific patient. So kind of like see how that person is changing over time. You can always go back and view the details of any of these tests by clicking on View Report. You can reprint it if you like. If there's something that is wrong with one of these tests, maybe you enter the information incorrectly, or any other issue, you can delete that by clicking the Delete button. It's going to ask you to confirm. Press delete to confirm, or close to go back. Another thing that you could do within the patient view here for this particular patient is you can run a new test from here also, or you can export all of the data in a CSV file. So we're going to go ahead and see what that looks like. So once I click on Export CSV, it already has the name of the patient here. It's the history of the patient. Again, I'm going to put it on the desktop here. I'm going to click on Save. And let's go back to the desktop, and it's going to show up as an Excel file. So let's double click on that and see what that looks like. So you have the date of the test, the name, who conducted the test, and all the other information. Of course, you can see here there's one entry that we put this person as a female. This was just to run some tests, but you can export all this information here to an Excel spreadsheet that you can then use to either you can do graphs, you can do all different sorts of cool stuff once the information is here in Excel, and you can also import it to if you have a specific medical record that you use where you want to import this data in, it's going to be much easier to do it once you have the data here in Excel. So let's go ahead and close this. And go back to, let's not save anything. We'll go back to the application. Okay, so very good. So what we looked at is printing. We looked at how to enter a new patient. We looked at the history of a patient. And I'm just going to go back. Let's go back. And so there's different ways to run a test. You can run a test from this view. You can run a test from this view, from the patient view right here, save and test. You can look at the historical data and run a test from here, kind of depending on the approach that you want to take. So let's say from here, you can see, okay, last time you came in, you were 204.7. Let's see what your weight is now. And you can start a test from this point. You can do things backwards. Pretty much, we're leaving that up to you to how do you want to start the test from what point. Let's go back again and back again. And I want to show, I'm going to click here to go back to the home page, what test only is all about. So test only, basically same thing. You're able to run a test on a person and see, I'm going to do a test for Vito again. The only difference is once I run this test, you're going to be able to print the information, but you're not going to be able to store any of the information. So anything that you do from this section right here is not going to get stored. But it works exactly the same. At this point, it says waiting for scale results. You're going to be able to have the person step on the scale, run the test, look at the results, print the results, but not store the results. So that's under test only. Again, if you want to make some changes, you would go under operator settings. You can change the name of of the business if you're running either medical or fitness. These are all things that you can see the details of in the previous video about how to set up your application. Now, of course, if you have any specific questions, please reach out to us. You can call us at 858-457-5576, and we'll be happy to help with any questions that you may have on how to use this application.